Okay, we are live here in Facebook with Educators Drinking Coffee. I just need to go ahead and change my settings here really quick. I apologize, Uvonda. Okay, let's see, here we are. Okay, come on. Drinking coffee. Oh, I just need to if you get that, there it is. I mean, I got it. All right, give me 1 second. You change the setting, and then now let me turn this volume down here. All right, we are live. Just give me a break. Always some little technical difficulties here. Okay, and give me 1 second. Got to do this here. Okay. Okay. Post. Ooh, I'm not going to be able to do it. Give me 1 second here. Trying to change my settings. This is a lot harder today than it has been all the other days. Where I'm at, I usually can just switch here.
Right.
Okay, let me go here. There it is. Okay, we should be good. It'll probably play the first part anyway, so we're good. We're live. So once again, thank you for Educators Drinking Coffee. Joining us today, I have a special guest, Miss Uvonda Willis. If you want to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, sure. So as Juan stated, my name is Uvonda Willis, assistant principal at Greene Central High School. I've been in administration for 7 years and 5 years at Greene Central. And for those of you that don't know, Juan and I used to be assistant principals together and had the best time in the world. Miss you, buddy.
Same here. Same here. Let me fix my computer here. The crazy thing, and I'll be honest with you, Uvonda, I currently work with a Jovonda, and I could tell you, at times, and especially early on, I'm sure I called her Uvonda, especially early on, and may still do. She's just so nice. She doesn't say anything. So, but she is great. We actually went to school together at ECU. That's how I had that relationship prior to this. But thank you for coming in this morning. This whole series of Educators Drinking Coffee, and actually as we go on, today I'm simple because I'm on the road today. So I have my FAU cup. I made sure I had that where I went to school, but I just stopped at Dunkin' Donuts this morning to get Dunkin' Donuts coffee, not my usual Colombian coffee. What about yourself? I see the shirt.
Oh, yeah. So, coffee and chat. I also do something like you do with educators where we connect and collaborate and create strategies for change. But this morning, I just got a simple wisdom. You know how I am. Wisdom cup here. I feel that we all need to pour and drink some of that daily. And yeah.
Yeah. No, and one thing you talk about the other things you do to connect and stuff. And one thing I've known from the time that we've known each other, and I say we actually even connected prior to being assistant principals, when we were back at Rose when I was just getting started. But you're very reflective. And I think that's what makes you a very, good and effective administrator, is that with even your connections, what you do outside of school, you look at reflecting, and not even just your professional, but also your personal life, your family life. And I think as a whole, that really just, I want to call it a habit, but it is it's just part of who you are. And I think that's what makes you very effective. I just want to make sure I noted that before I forgot. So a lot to learn that I learned from you. Again, just that personal side and in dealing with students. And one thing that, when we worked together, when we dealt with issues, it wasn't about the punishment right there. It's like, okay, what do we have the situation, we've gotten ourselves into this, how do we get out of it? How do we move forward? And that aspect really, I saw kids really connect with you because again, I go back a lot. It seems with a lot of people that I've worked with, is about relationships. And you have done an awesome job with that. And it shows in Greene County when I see all the things you guys are doing.
Well, I can't take all the credit for that. When we were working together, I don't even know why we had two offices. Do you remember we used to work in one office and you'd be on one side and I'd be on the other? And one thing that I can say is that it was very rare and that you and I never had an argument.
No.
I don't even think we ever disagreed on anything. And it was almost like you work with someone for such a long time that you begin to know how they move, how they think, how they would handle situations. And even though we're two different people, I think that even how we handled students, the students themselves and faculty knew that we were a united front. And I think that that worked so well with us. And I miss our talks and both of us being just reflective, about different things. So appreciate
it is because, and this as you get further up in the chain in the school, I've always, and people have told me this, it gets lonelier. Even though you're friendly with your staff and everything, but there's only one other person at the same level that you and I could disagree with the head guy, and it's okay. You know what I mean? It's you and I. But it gets lonely as you get further up to the top, and just having that that I guess soundboard very important for both of us. So good. But now like I've talked about my perspective, but you're in another county. And just want to get your thoughts about March 13th. When exactly did you guys make that switch?
So March 13th for us also.
So tell me your thoughts around that day when you found out. What went through your mind, concerns?
Absolutely. So you remember, as you used to work in Greene County, I remember that day vividly. And I know for a lot of administrators, their first thought is, oh my gosh, like, what are we going to do? For us, the first thought was when you work in a low wealth district and you know that you are kind of like that stability for a lot of kids when it comes to just food and just normalcy. My first thought was when these kids are home, how is that going to look? We didn't know how long we're going to be out. And even now, I still keep in contact with many of them and I'm checking them, asking them, are you okay? And yes, I know we're with remote learning, but I'm still more concerned with how are you from mental standpoint, what you have the capacity to hold, because a lot of our students didn't have a lot of stability with things, and even those who did, we were still that sense of normalcy. So a lot of our teachers, it's not so much concerned about the work, it's I miss my students because I know the backstory, and so that doesn't disappear.
We were privy to a lot of sensitive information, things that they shared with us, and so we know the situation that they're in, and you worry about that. How are they going to make it through? Because that social emotional piece, it's like we thought about it, but I don't know if we really thought it through in a sense, because that distancing, that it's almost, in some cases, we do have kids that are almost managing themselves and getting through school by themselves. And now they're by themselves, literally. There's no coming to school to have somebody checking up on them. So that's awesome that you keep checking up on them. And they need to have that. And I think those are also the things that they learn to know who's really there in the hard times, who really cares. So that's awesome. Now, also, I want to talk to you a little bit as a parent, because you do have two boys in high school.
Yes.
From a parent's perspective, tell me a little bit about.
Well, I'm actually glad that you asked that question, because I do think that whether it's through social media or just you interacting with teachers, parents, students, or other stakeholders in general, I do think that perspective is not really hit upon very much. So I do appreciate you asking about that. I will tell you from a parent standpoint, yes, we're pretty lucky in that you remember having my boys there with me in the same building and being able to check on them, things of that nature. But that's totally shifted now that the building is actually 4 walls of the home. The classroom is actually their bedrooms, even the kitchen table, or sometimes it's outside. And you can have like the most well-behaved children, but they still have those same triggers as, other children, that they kind of get a little bit lethargic, lazy, things of that nature. And I mean, they've been doing really well from that standpoint. But as a parent, I will tell you, I have those same fears in that one day, I remember March the 13th, my children, should I say, they were in the class. They're with their friends.
Yeah.
They had formed those relationships with their teachers, and they haven't been back since.
Yeah.
So honestly, we try to keep that line of communication open with our children, because I like to say that, and think that we have a good, stable home. But still, this is very traumatic, for children. I don't care, what type of household that you live in. So even with my children, we try to sit down at dinner and just say, check in, how you doing? Not just about did you do your work, but just how were you from a mental standpoint? What are the things that you missed? Have you checked on your friends today? And just trying to spend as much time, as we can. And so it's been an adjustment. I will say that I kind of felt like I was back in the classroom, especially with Jaden's college English courses.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And I'll tell you from my perspective, been blessed. I have two girls, and one elementary, one's about to start high school, but they've been great. I really cannot complain much about them. We do make sure we check up on them. I feel terrible because their birthdays have come during this whole thing in the last 2 weeks, and no birthday parties. Not even, I think we're able to do kind of like a little drive-by for my oldest, like the afternoon of her birthday. The little one had a friend come over and drop off gifts. So they had a little bit of that, seeing just in person of their friend. I think that really lit up their day. Today's actually their last day of school.
Wow.
In Greene County. And so, we're thinking of, okay, what can we do to celebrate? Because they've been real troopers. And I know they miss their friends. They miss the little one misses her teacher tremendously, the young one. But we'll see. We'll see how they now also, how we have to keep in mind, okay, the time now of social distancing between, in school. And there were snippets of, I can see my friends, but my little one now, it's going to go into a time period where there's even going to be less opportunity because, as a third grader, it's not like a teenager who maybe has a phone that, hey, I can FaceTime my friend.
Yeah.
Little one's really going to go into a time frame where she's really not going to. It normally happens, but now it's been, we've already been going for over 10 weeks. So I do worry about that. Your boys are in sports too, and that's the other thing that's kind of in limbo right now. I know probably at home is when they're able to do more things with you and your husband, so that's awesome. I do want to kind of just acknowledge my mom, of course, a regular here. She watches on Facebook from Colombia, so Feliz Dia Madre. And I also have another regular, Mr. Harold. He's one of our EC assistants here. Good morning. Thank you for stopping by. He's a great guy. Really cares about his kids. He's been doing an awesome job checking up on his kids during this time. So as we move on, I guess I want people to know, again, I talk about your ability with relationships. And one of the things I wanted to make sure to talk about is the work you do with the young ladies at the school. And so talk to us about that.
Well, yes, and thank you so much for just remembering that, because that's a passion of mine. So with our young ladies at Greene Central, we actually have, I don't even really like to call it a club, because for me it's more about just empowering young women, no matter their background. But it's called RAM Legacy, and Legacy is an acronym for Ladies Empowered to Grow and Change Through You. And our slogan has always been, what's your legacy? It's about building your legacy, because I teach the girls that when you know your legacy, then know that now you can help another young woman in establishing hers. Because I always teach them, once you know your worth, there's certain things that you're not going to do, because you can't fully know your worth and your potential, or even tap into that and decide to go and do other things. Because once awareness comes and you begin to acknowledge that and walk into that, life changes right before you.
Yeah, and I have I think it was a couple of girls that were on while I was there when you were kind of getting that really off the ground, and it's just incredible to see these young ladies where they're moving on to. You know what I mean? And then that jump start that I truly believe you kind of helped them. It's awesome. I think it's great, and I think from being there, you were the right person to get it going. I think you do have to somebody who cares, who can really model for them. We always talk about that. The kids have to be able to see themselves in other folks and say, okay, if she can do it or if he can do it, I can do it too. And always being there, like I said, sometimes those same young ladies make mistakes.
Yes.
And you're there and say, okay, this is not the end all be all of your legacy. We gotta, fix that a little bit and try to make that even better. Now it's an opportunity for growth and opportunity for learning. So awesome. Now I know you do some other things. I swear you're one of the busiest APs I know. Between some of what you do, your writing.
Yes.
I think what you and Delmas, your husband, do. I think I don't know if it's for your church, but just tell us a little bit about all the things you're involved, because I want people to know the whole package here.
Wow, look, knowing the whole package depends on the day. But as you said, yes, I am a published author. Kind of like my latest book focuses on just the AP experience and just strategies and they're not like research based. It's what I learned and continuing to learn from being an AP, and it's called Follow to Lead. And it's a lot of the experiences that we went through. And like I know, when you're an assistant principal, it's kind of like trial by fire. Yeah. You're getting in that, and it's kind of like, wow, no one really taught me this. I didn't really learn this in my coursework. So it's kind of like you're going around, and I kind of felt like I wanted to write something and publish something that if I could help another AP or someone interested into going into administration of, hey, these are some of the tips and strategies that I've learned. It's definitely not the blueprint, but it's worked for me. Also, my husband and I, we're leaders in our ministry under Bishop Donald and Dr. Tia Crooms. Oh, hi guys, hope you're watching. But we're leaders under them, and we are the leaders under the marriage ministry, which is purposely suited marriage ministry. And we work with a lot of couples, have a lot of fun, things of that nature. So yeah, we do a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I see you guys, definitely always doing, like I said, what I love, the fact is it's you do so much family oriented. Just about almost everything you do, and seeing your family grow from the time that we started working. Mm-hmm. I think about when I began, and it's something you talked about, what you wrote as far as APs, and me both. My wife is also an AP, and we talk about, you always have discussions about it, and I think about like the first day. To me, I will always remember my first day as assistant principal at J.H. Rose, and I was an intern. I wasn't even, I guess, an official assistant principal, but teachers didn't care. The title being an intern, they're like, you're an AP, take care of this. But I learned a couple things the first day. I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Day one when I was there. And second is I should have really, really looked at the map of the school and know exactly where everything was located. Because when something happened, I'd half the time I'd run the wrong way or realize I couldn't get to a certain part of the building. I also learned, like, when there's an emergency, you got to run and get there.
Yes.
I always remember an incident we had. It was we got the call and to the back of the building at Rose, and I'm jogging it. I'm just jogging, and next thing I know, I hear a footstep, and there's Patrick Greene running full speed, and then Jannard Kent. I'm like, okay, this is serious. So, you know what I mean? And so I learned, okay, you got to get there. And now there, I was lucky that I had two other guys who'd been there before, more previous. But as we moved on to others, buildings, I've been the only male, and sometimes just trying to, and my height, I think I have to almost project a little bit more than I am. So now, but I learned from that point. Now I try to be the first one there. Just any little second counts and helps out a student who may be in need or needs help and things like that. But and I also learned very early on, get good shoes. I did, oh my gosh, the first week, I'm like, oh, these are just dress shoes. I got these blisters.
Yes. Oh yes, you're totally right. The right shoes, and Delmas picks on me because for Christmas, like a couple of years ago, he said, what do you want for Christmas? I said, Yeah. I want a pair of Teeks. He actually purchased me 2 pairs. He's like, you know how much these shoes are? I'm like, yes, but it's an investment in my feet, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I actually remember the first day I met you at Rose. I remember the color scheme you had on.
The what?
You had on purple.
Really?
You had on purple.
Well, probably, yeah.
Yeah. I was still a classroom teacher and English teacher there. And I remember we were in the not the auditorium, like the hall. And I remember you came in and I was like, who's this dude? And you were smiling and you were so friendly. I don't know why that sticks out, but I still remember that. I do.
Yeah. I used to wear a lot of purple early on, especially, you know, because of ECU and stuff like that. And we definitely had some good times there. You know, learned a lot. Like I said, I mean, I was there for 6 months. It's incredible. It feels like it was a lot longer. And it wasn't even 6 months during school. It was 6 months from July to about November. But I learned so much in those, you know, that brief period I was there, which prepared me to come to Greene County.
Yes.
And definitely to a different environment, you know, being there. But those are learned a lot about just, I said, I remember my last day, I took care of buses. And, the last bus sailed out and I said, yes, I'm done with buses. But maybe 20 seconds later, we got an issue on the bus. So get on the cruiser with I guess it was it OD?
Yeah, OD, and we had OJ.
Oh yeah, it was OD because I didn't get to work with OD, and oh my gosh, so we went and took it. I'm like, you know, don't ever say you're done until it's completely over. But yeah, there's so much, and that's the other thing too that I've learned, and I know you do this too. Is okay, we've been doing this now for a while. Yeah. I guess I started this in 2011, so now going to my 9th year administration, and there's still so much to learn. Even though, you know, I've been in different positions, you know, I've been the AP, I've been the principal, and now AP again, and there's still so much to learn. And like I said, and that's one thing we need to continue to do. And if one thing this time has at least helped me is to really begin to just do a lot of reading again. Yeah. You know, just seeing what's going out there. There's so much uncertainty about next, you know, the fall. And, you know, we have a few more minutes here, but what are you and the principal, Mr. Greene, and I apologize, you also guys have another AP there. I remember the guy who came after me, but the other young lady that's with you.
Yes, we have Miss Kroom now, and formerly we had Mr. Jones, Mr. Michael Jones, but yes, I'm with Kroom, so yes. Yeah.
But you know, what are you guys in the works as far as trying to get ready for next year, or are you guys just right now focusing on graduation?
So for us, right now, our focus is graduation. As you know, with Patrick, he's not going to make sudden decisions about things. He really values the student, the community, you know, stakeholder standpoints. So for him, I think we held out as long as we could and decided that we're actually going to have traditional graduation. It's going to be in August, the first week in August. Oh, wow. So the kids were very happy about that, and I respected he, and you remember Mr. Rodney McNeil from the early college, and so they got together, you know, virtually with some students from both buildings, and kind of said, "Hey, what do you want to see?" And it was kind of like a unanimous thing. Kids, if possible, said we don't mind a later graduation as long as we can still have it live, like with them being there, their parents, you know, friends, family, things of that nature. So that's been our focus in preparing for that. Yesterday, we kind of did a modified of our senior day. So we kind of had the kids come in. It was kind of staggered from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. So, you know, and I was concerned a little bit about the crowd, but we didn't have a lot. The kids followed the social distancing and things of that nature. Gave out free, you know, T-shirts. They paid fees, you know, turned in iPads, things of that nature. So right now, it's more so of giving these kids, trying to keep things as normal as possible. I guess new normal. The remote learning actually ends next Thursday, should I say. Grades are due, things of that nature. So it's just making sure our teachers have done a phenomenal job of contacting students, actually getting more support out to them. It's weird during this time, and students asking questions, things of that nature. And so, like I told our teachers, I said, that's why it was so important to build those relationships before all of this, because as you stated earlier, when students know that you care and they genuinely can feel that you create that classroom environment for them, during times like this, they're going to reach out to you and they're going to talk to you, things of that nature. So teachers have been very successful in that. So that's our focus right now, is making sure that we get the seniors the support that they need, making sure that we plan a great graduation ceremony for them the first week of August.
That's awesome. And I think we have to do that for the communities we're in. Your community, and it fits and it works well, and it is. In other communities, we're not kind of following that. That doesn't mean it's wrong, it's right, whatever it is. It's just what really kind of fits our community. And the main thing we're trying to make sure it's that it's going to be special. Yeah. I think this is a special class, and we have to work with our community, our parents, to try to make it as special as possible. And all of us could wish it could be on our traditional day of graduation, but the reality it's not. And then what you guys are doing, it's a great idea. Trying to hopefully wait and see for that in August. That's really good. So I do want to thank you. We're coming up here to the end, because I know you have to get ready. We're about to do something here today. Like I said, I'm on the road. I'm actually back here at school, needing to get some stuff ready for graduation. So I did have a couple things. My brother, another one that stops by, he tries to be all formal. Hello, Mr. Castillo, but make sure you capitalize the M in Mr., please. And then he's like, wait, tell us about the purple. And I know he's thinking like, he's probably thinking like I'm dressing outrageous, kind of like the guy in the mask, Ace Ventura, with a purple something.
Let him know that you. I mean, of course, you always have your tie. It was shirt, tie, dress pants, but you just had that purple coordination going on, and I just going. Okay.
Yeah. That's I definitely do that once in a while. I still do it. Just. Me, I don't take myself too seriously.
Right.
I do what I feel, kids will benefit from, and that's just part. And I learned that, working there at Greene Central. We one thing when we made sure that when we were there, we really built that strong student to staff relationship. And I think, it started with administration, and I saw it changing with staff too, and the staff, that was brought in saw, hey, this is important. So continue to do awesome work. Uvonda, I appreciate you coming in here. We'll try to do it. I'm going to try to do this. I know I'm going to do all 4 days next week. I will be taking Monday off. But next Thursday, actually, I'm going to try to do it in Spanish for some of my Spanish folks. Yeah. We'll see how that goes. And then after that, I got to see, I may kind of drop down to just a few days a week as we wrap up and get ready, because we all have, like I said, at least for me, I have graduation coming up a little after in June. So trying to make sure we got all the preparations and everything done, and finalizing grades and all that kind of stuff. So I do want to thank you. Make sure you say hi to the boys, Delmas, for me, and anybody there at Greene Central.
I will, likewise.
All right. So this is Educators Drinking Coffee. And I will see you all on Tuesday at 8 in the morning. All right. Bye-bye. 1 second.